Okay. Got it. All right. So for the record, I guess I should introduce this. This is the Civil Law and Procedure Subcommittee meeting on
Resume.
Civil Law and Procedure Subcommittee meeting on 2/15/2024. It's our first meeting. We're going to be handling one bill. Thank you all very much for attending. And Holly, I apologize. I interrupted you. You were describing what records are going to be kept electronically if should this bill pass.
Yep. So this deals with military records. So it is discharge papers of any person who at any time has served in the armed forces of the United States. Let's see.
Is there anything besides discharge? I knew the discharge, but is there additional papers that's going to include, or?
Not that I see, but we can ask Mr. Poyer if he wants to go into more detail.
Sure. Yeah, this is discharge papers is the all-inclusive term. It's kind of the umbrella term because prior to oh gosh, it's probably the 1960s. They were just called discharge papers, and then after that they were called DD-214s. So we'll refer to them as either DD-214s or discharge records, but they are the discharge records of folks that were in the armed services, and those are the only records that are referred to in this section of the statute.
Great. Okay. So any questions generally about the legislation before we go into? There is an amendment that I wanted to make sure we discussed. Okay. And this bill in general just creates efficiency and saves money and provides easier access without any security issues. Is that correct?
That's correct. And currently there actually is no access unless you are a family member. Or there are the exceptions if you've got a court order to get access. That would be one of the exceptions, but it's only for family members. This bill would also allow the public, researchers. It was originally started by the Veterans Affairs Commission of Anne Arundel County because the Veterans Affairs Commission can't get access to the records that we hold right now. If this bill passes, they will be able to get access to those records and get headstones for service members who were killed in action who don't have a headstone right now.
Okay, great. Delegate Williams.
Yes, Mr. Chair. You mentioned that there is an amendment to this bill. I don't see it on my floor system. And also
So I'll chime in here, Delegate Williams. It's the amendments that pass through the Senate. And so if you want to pull up the cross file, we're going to show them in just a minute. But
Right.
pull up the cross file. I can give you the number. And then we're gonna show you what they are, and I've drafted them for the House bill. So Senate Bill 159, as it passed out of the Senate, I believe yesterday.
Okay, so there's two amendments on the floor system under the Senate bill.
Yes,
So
so we're gonna do both of them.
Okay, all right, sounds great. Thank you.
So, and we brought in Mr. Poyer to be able to describe the one substantive. The other one I think is more technical. But yes, so Holly, can we ask Hunter and/or Natalie to post the amendments for us?
I can screen share this one. I think they're still figuring all of that out with Natalie. So let me just screen share the amendments, okay?
Great.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
So can you pull it down a little bit? All right. Mr. Poyer, do you want to describe, this is your amendment, correct?
Oh, let me pull it down then. This is Mr. Poyer's amendment.
Right, number 2.
Yeah, we did number 2. We didn't do number 1, but I know why they're doing it. If you'd like to, would you like me to talk about number 1 as well?
Sure. why don't you talk about both? So it'll be easier.
Yeah, so number one, the original language for this statute, which originated in the 1940s, just refers to armed forces of the United States. This expands the definition to uniformed services. So that covers the Army, Navy, Air Force, all the armed services, and NOAA and Public Health Service. They're both considered uniformed services, and they do get a DD 214. They do get these discharge records. We've been accepting them. So I believe that's why they've expanded the definition from armed forces to uniformed services. They just want to capture them as well.
And uniformed services also includes all armed services and others. That
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yep. Now
Right.
that's the federal definition. There is, not that I'm aware of, an actual definition of uniformed services in Courts and Judicial Proceedings article. There is one in Health General, and what they do is they just tie over to the federal definition, which is in 10, I'd have to look it up. I want to say like 10-101. So I don't know if the committee wants to put in a definition of uniformed services, but the general, it's generally, we go with the federal definition.
Well, it sounds to me as if there's already a definition in the health article, or the health article refers to the federal definition, I think that will suffice. Okay.
Okay, sounds good to me.
I think, Holly, I think we should take do we have to vote on both amendments? Or do we have to, can we vote on them?
You can vote them all together or separately. It's however you want to do it. I
Mr.
drafted them together just for clarity because that's how it moved out of the Senate.
Perfect. So Mr. Poyer, can you describe the Second Amendment?
Yeah, Second Amendment, there's two of them in there. One's just a technical amendment. There's a part that says that the clerk can only release these records for good cause shown. Even to family members, they have to show good cause, and it's not really definable. You know, what's a good cause, what's a bad cause? So we were just going to strike that particular language for good cause shown, because if it's a family member that's asking for access to the records, then we'll assume they have a good cause to get access to the records. If it's been over 70 years, by the way, we don't release any of these records until after 70 years, unless I say like they have a court order or something like that. Otherwise, everybody waits 70 years. So after that, they would be open to the public, and the National Archives and the Maryland Archives also release after certain time periods too. So that's bringing them in line with what the Maryland Archives and the National Archives have for that. The second, number 2 in there, we just wanted to verify that we don't have to redact the Social Security numbers for all these records right now. We only have to redact it, the Social Security numbers, once they meet that 70-year requirement, because Social Security numbers only came in 1969. So the first time that we'll have to redact any Social Security numbers from records are 70 years later, which would be the year 2039. So that second one is just in there to clarify that we don't have to go back through all of our thousands of records right now today and redact Social Security numbers, because nobody has access to them. We'll just redact them as it goes along, starting in the year 2039 when they first start to appear on the records.
Thank you very much for those comprehensive explanations.
Sure.
Delia Conaway has a question.
Thank you. In reference to section 2 of Amendment 2, if the clerk is who's the clerk?
You're breaking up on us, Delia Conaway.
Number clerk, where it says the clerk, is that the clerk of the court?
It is.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, can I ask to be, I need to be excused on this vote?
If you think you need to be excused, you can be excused. I just, I don't think that you have to because
My nephew is the clerk. My nephew is the clerk of the court for Baltimore City, and my sister is the registered wills for Baltimore City.
right. I know. So if you want to if you want to recuse yourself, you can, but I don't think there's any, that the clerks would not have any financial interest or gain any kind of additional authority or power. This is just clarifying what they shall and shall not do in terms of social security numbers. But that being said, if you feel it's appropriate to recuse yourself, please do.
Thank you very much. Recused.
All right. Any other questions on the amendments? Can we get an emotion on the amendments? On both amendments?
I would move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay. Anybody opposed to the amendments, raise your hand. I'm going to assume everybody's in favor of the amendments, that there's no issues. Good. All right. Now,
Move favorable on the bill as amended.
thank you.
Second.
Any discussion on the bill?
It's been
Very
moved
good.
to second. Call the vote.
All those in favor of the bill as amended, raise your hand. Is there any, okay, well, is anybody opposed? Great. Thank you all very much. It was a good first time. I hope Natalie from my office is learning how to use the technical side of these things, and we can do this a little bit more congruently next time. Thank you, Clerk Poyer, for coming and helping us.
Thank you, Delegate Cardin, members of the committee. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
I'm moved to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you. See y'all soon.